Hello everybody, I'm Baltmatrix, and today we're going to be taking a look at everyone's favorite Styracosaurus, RACTONITE. This figure is a deluxe class figure, and it is really good. It continues the awesome lineage of the fossilizers. RACTONITE is a Predacon like Paleo T-Rex before him, and here are the two figures next to each other to give you a sense of scale, and a better sense of scale will give you a core class sound whoop. Stand up, Soundwave. You haven't had that much to drink. A core class Soundwave. Well, is that not enough for you? Let me see. What else do we have here that I could just grab off a shelf? Let's go with Select's Goldie Marg. Okay, no, I realize that's not Goldie Marg, but Black, whatever his name was. There's your size comparison. We can all agree that the molding on these fossilizers is absolutely beautiful. The bone look is just exquisite, and the paint on RACTONITE works really well. It works better than Paleo T-Rex. Paleo T-Rex off brown yellow is very strange. RACTONITE feels like bones, and it looks like it. Yeah, there's some robot-y bits here and there, but man, this is such a darn good-looking dinosaur skeleton. Now, yes, I will freely admit that the front legs are doofy as heck, because a real Styracosaurus has more of a, I almost said posability, has more of a range of motion than this toy has ended up with. And I also have the legs straight out, as opposed to the way you're supposed to display it is, or move it, is kind of like this, with the rear legs pointing forward and the front legs bent back a little bit. It still works. It's still a darn good-looking skeleton robot. I love the fact that the fossilizers are big enough that they can be ridden by the core class figures. It's not perfect, mind you. They could definitely use some saddles, but it works. And that's what's important. In terms of posability in this mode, his head can move, the legs can move around, they are designed to come apart, and the mouth opens and closes. There is a little peg in the mouth for it being wielded in weapon modes and its combined form. Yes, the fossilizers do combine. This isn't my favorite mode. It's great for displaying the figure. Unfortunately, its mouth isn't big enough to actually hold anything, so that's a shame, but Again, not my favorite mode of the two. I like the robot mode a bit better, but still, solid dino mode. The dino mode pulls apart into these 9 pieces. We've got the head, the front legs, the main front of the body, the rear legs, the tip of the tail, the hind quarter section, and then the actual hips themselves. And then we just start putting them together. Take the rear, or the rear section, the rear legs, straighten them out and stand them up, and then attach the hips and peg them in like so and stand them up. And then the entire top section, or I'm sorry, the entire front chest section, well, this will become the robot chest. This plops down and there's a robot head up here, believe it or not. Next, the shoulders are interesting, so we take the tail, fold it up, and flip it down, and then that will peg in to form the one shoulder. And then we take the dino head, open the mouth up, and push that gray peg down and flip it out, and this will be the shoulder peg, like so. And then the front legs will become the front arms. And yes, I realize that poor old RACTONITE, not only is he just a bone skeleton for an alt mode, he also has no real hands. And then we take the tail and we can peg that in onto either palm. Let's face it, he doesn't have real hands. It's kind of sad, but if this was a little bit more posable, you could take this peg, fold it up, and then he's got dino toes for hands. And for the head reveal, push the peg bent down, and that flips up the visor, and that's it. In robot mode, Paleo T-Rex looks pretty good, except for the hands. And, well, let's face it, he's a chunky boy. He kind of reminds me of some people I used to play sports with back in high school. Yes, believe it or not, I did play sports. He has a big old barrel chest that, well, it's more like a barrel beer gut for a dinosaur robot. But detailing is great, and the overall aesthetic of the figure is fantastic. I can't argue with it. It just looks so dang good, at least to me anyway. Also, I love this head sculpt. I love the face sculpt. I love the bright red eyes and the black mouth and the overall bucket helmet. And I mean, come on, when this is closed, that's a bucket. That's a Megatron-esque bucket if I've ever seen one. In terms of scale, the figure scales just a little bit smaller than Paleo T-Rex in robot mode and a standard deluxe class. Well, let's go ahead and get another deluxe class that he does perfectly scale with in height, and that's Run Amok. Or is this Runabout? I don't know. Either way, yeah, I mean, they're the same size. Next up, we're going to talk about some weapon modes for this guy. And I find it really strange that the figure is a Predacon, yet they keep showing off some of these weaponizers with Autobots for some reason. I don't understand why they do that. But they do. The first weapon mode we're going to take a look at is what I have dubbed the Bone Hammer. To start off with, take the entire chest section, flip it out like this so that the head is pointing out, turn it back around, take the hips that are already collapsed and set up to be the shoulders and peg them in to the section right here. And you can fold that a little bit down if you want, or just keep it up. Doesn't really matter. You just kind of put it like that. Next, there's a peg inside. We take one of the rear legs and peg that down. And then we take the hips and peg that into the bottom of the foot so that the other figure has something to grab onto. And that is the Bone Hammer. Its stability is questionable, but it does work. So I said it technically works, but there is a little bit of a problem. These legs aren't the stiffest bits, and it has a tendency to flop from side to side, and you've got to have a figure then you've got to have a figure that's joints are actually strong enough to handle that much weight. Yeah, it looks cool, but it's not very practical. Next up is what I have dubbed the sword, shield, and spikes. To start off with, just transform the ribcage like you were going to use the bone hammer, peg in the tail at the tip of the head, and then add another leg, but this time one of the shorter front legs to the bottom. Fold it down, snap it into place, and you've got the sword/spear. Put that off to the side. For the next component, grab the Styracosaurus head and pull off these top horns. And yes, the entire Styracosaurus head does disassemble. And put that off to the side. Then grab these legs and peg the spikes into the tips of the legs. And then peg these guys' legs into the hips, like this. And then this whole section will peg into the back of some bot that needs some weaponage. Oh, and I forgot one component. Not bad, not bad. Sword, spear, shield, spiky things. Pull the crest off of the dino head, grab one of the little legs, and open up its mouth, and get that peg up. Peg one of those in, turn it, close the mouth, and add the pointy bit, and fold that down, and then you've got like a shoulder-mounted spear thing. Then take the chest, attach the spikies. Where'd the other spiky go? Oh no, Spiky, where are you? There you are. Like that. Then peg this, peg the hips into the peg hole behind the robot head, like that. And then there's a third spike. I forgot that the front horn can come off, but oh dear, I'm not even going to try. I cannot get that horn off. Either way, it's supposed to go on the tip of this, and then you get a spiky hammer. Yeah, that's very Monster Hunter-esque. It's like you got a combination of a great sword and a shield. It's real weird. In terms of siege ports in robot mode, the figure has one port on the back behind the head. There are 2 ports, one on each foot. Then the arm or lower arms have one in each forearm. And then you could arm this up with, I don't know, maybe another RACTONITE just for funsies. Overall, RACTONITE is excellent and a huge ton of fun. I'm so glad I was able to get this figure and that I picked it up. I've yet to see RACTONITE in a store. The only fossilizer I've seen in the store, in fact, I haven't even seen Paleo T-Rex in a store. The only one I've seen in store is the Velociraptor. Shoot, I forgot the name of it. Anyway, I strongly recommend picking up RACTONITE. It's available over at BBTS and other fine retailers of giant robots here online. Let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. As always, I have been Baltmatrix, and I will catch you all next time.